Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to Austin, Texas, and the Circuit of the Americas for the fourth race of the season in the 2022 Haas IndyCar Series. This is Firestone Indy Texas, 15 laps around this 3.427 mile road course. And the first time we have ever had a race here on the channel as well. So we are definitely excited to see what this beautiful racetrack will bring to us here today. 15 laps in this event. We'll have a cycle of pit stops, but of course, with this being a road course, no cautions in this event. So it's a good chance that the winner of this race is going to come from the top four starting positions. We got Micah back in the booth here. Of course, you missed what happened last week at Texas, but Zachary Fitzwater went on to dominate that race. Do you think we'll see our pole sitter, Nathan Faden, in the 00 dominate this race here today at Circuit of the Americas?
Well, Faden does have a good track record, and like you said, it is difficult to make up positions here, especially in such a short race. So we'll have to see if he can capitalize on his pole position and hold off the rest of the field.
We'll just have to see what the 00 can do. Faden has been doing an excellent job in qualifying this season. Of course, he won the pole yesterday in the Fast 6. And with that, he gets a bonus point towards the championship. And speaking of the championship, obviously we know Zachary Fitzwater's been doing a very good job this season. 127 points towards the championship coming into this race. 31 points behind him is Brandon Nelson. And then you got Landon Smith Jr., 41 points behind. Trey Smith is 42 points behind him. Thomas Troxel, 50 points behind coming into this race. Troxel starts there in the 4th position, and Trey Smith starts in the 5th position. So both of those drivers have a good opportunity of gaining some ground on Zachary Fitzwater here today. And we'll go ahead and get these guys to roll off here from Circuit of the Americas. Like we mentioned, Nathan Faden starting on the pole position in the 00. Alongside him, Brock Nelson grabbed the second fastest time in qualifying in the Fast 6 shootout yesterday. Both of those drivers have a very good opportunity at winning this race. We're not going to see much passing throughout the race here today. However, it could be a bit of a race of attrition, so these guys have to be careful working around this racetrack. Cole Raymond starts in the 3rd position alongside Thomas Troxel. And you got Trey Smith there, the number 41, starting alongside last year's Indy 250 champion of Ethan Lewis. Angel Olvera starts to the inside of Brian Rodriguez. You got Noah Clifton there in the number 23, starting alongside the 66 of Zachary Fitzwater. Of course, Fitzwater has finished top 10 in every race so far this season. We'll have to see if he can continue that streak here today at COTA. Right behind those guys, it is the 42 of Elijah Gordon, his teammate Richard Kingart, the NS Racing teammates there starting in the 6th row. And then you got Brandon Nelson in the number 22 alongside Landon Smith Jr., Logan Williams alongside Justin Zidell, Ace Garcia and Chris Reynolds, Reggie Fogelman and Jesse Turner, Eric Monaco, Zach Winkle, Scott Upton, Nicholas Samadio, the Caleb Rose, and then Jay Knapp, your son there, starting in the last position. And I mentioned this race could be a bit of a race of attrition. These guys are going to kind of race like Formula 1 does. They're going to be going a little bit fast through the corners. This is the way this track is set up in the game. So, Micah, how careful do these guys have to be to make sure they don't spin out on their own here today in this 15-lap race?
Well, like any sort of road course racing, it's going to be just staying on the pavement for starters and just managing your car, managing your tires. It's a relatively new road course, so we'll have to see what tire wear looks like here. And then nailing that pit stop, just making sure that you put yourself in the best position to be up front at the end of this race.
And that's another thing to watch out for here today. The entry to pit lane is very narrow here at COTA. And these guys have to be careful to not hit the pit road wall attempting to come down the pit lane, because if you hit the pit road wall, there aren't any cautions, and more than likely you're going to damage your car to a point of no return if you in fact do that. So we'll have to see if that happens to anyone. Hopefully it does not, but either way, it should be an interesting race here today. If you race a clean race, you got a good shot at finishing and getting a good finish, and for Nathan Faden and Brock Nelson especially, the start of this race may very well determine who gets the race victory between these two guys. But then again, they have to be careful not to wreck throughout this event. A very long racetrack, as you can tell, very long pace lap. I believe it's 21 turns, if I'm not mistaken. More turns than any other track on the circuit here in the Haas IndyCar Series. And the first time we have ever come to this racetrack on the channel, so a lot of unknowns coming into this one, but we should have a fun race here today. The fuel window around 8 to 10 laps here today, so that is when these guys are going to be coming down the pit lane. And we'll see some guys come in a couple laps before others, and that tire wear could definitely come into effect. You mentioned the tire wear. Yesterday in qualifying, generally the fastest laps were the first full laps run. We didn't really see any fast laps past that first lap run for many of the guys in qualifying yesterday, so tire wear, especially near the end of the run, may come into effect here around this racetrack. Well, Micah, who do you think is going to get the race victory here today in Firestone, Indy, Texas?
Well, I do like Nathan Faden, and I think he's hungry for a win, and he showed great pace yesterday, so Faden's definitely my pick.
And Faden comes into this race 8th in points. Could have a good shot in moving his way up in the championship with a good run here today. Everyone is starting in this field. The pace car is down, and we're ready to go here at Circuit of the Americas, underway in Firestone, Indy, Texas. The 4th race of the season is green here in Austin.
Lots of cars running wide through turn number 1. Looks like everybody keeps it on the pavement, though, as we're 3 wide, and there's contact heading into turn 3.
And a great jump there for Trey Smith in the 41 from the 5th, starting to position to 2nd as they go through the S's for the first time today. What a run there for Trey Smith, who won the first road course race of the season. He's looking to get the second one here, and he's in a great position to maybe pull some strategy. But that was a good jump there for Nathan Faden in the 00. You see Brock Nelson. He has fallen off just a little bit right there. He's under fire right now from Thomas Troxel, and Troxel moving to the inside through the hairpin. That inside lane has a very difficult time through that corner, however, and Troxel will not get the position on Brock Nelson. And now you're going to start to see these guys, especially up front, kind of settle in their respective positions. Here's Angel Olvera moving up in the number 25 machine right behind Thomas Troxel. We'll have to see if he makes a move here. Doesn't look like he will. So Faden
that's another
out front, and then Trey Smith up to 2nd.
Faden really benefited from that start, those 3 behind him making contact just after the start of the race, and that really hurt Upton as he fell back and lost a bunch of positions.
Yeah, Brock Nelson there in the number 17. Didn't lose too much ground, but still the points separate quite a bit inside this top 5, so he lost a good amount of points because of that move right there. Of course, a lap lead will mean another bonus point for Nathan Faden right here, and the official start-finish line is the one right over here. So it's not like an F1 where the start and finish line are different. That right there underneath the bridge is the official start-finish line, so that's where they will finish later on. Trey Smith holding on pretty strong, though, right behind this 00, but it is difficult to make a move here at the Circuit of the Americas. Everyone generally single file throughout the field. We got some double wide in the back here as Eric Monaco, Jesse Turner kind of mix it up there. You got Chris Reynolds and Reggie Fogelman in the back of the field. But I do believe everyone is still in this race. No one wrecked out there in that first lap, which is good, and everyone kept it on the racetrack here. We're going to have to see how well this 41 can keep with the 00. If he can keep this close when the cycle begins, then Trey Smith might have a good opportunity at possibly getting the race victory here today.
Yeah, and part of it, unlike Formula 1, we do not have DRS, but the straights here are very long, so if you can get a good slipstream, that can definitely benefit you running behind somebody as opposed to leading.
Absolutely, especially down the backstretch right here. One of the longest straightaways that we have on the circuit, especially on a road course. So these guys really gain some speed up to 200 miles per hour, but then they go into a very sharp left-hand corner, so they don't funnel into a very wide sweeping corner length they do at Riverside. We have a very similar long back straightaway at Riverside, but they sweep into a very wide corner and they keep the speed off towards the start-finish line. Not the case here at Circuit of the Americas. So many tight corners here that it is difficult to make a move because you just have to be so precise in order to catch up to a driver. So we'll have to see how well these guys maneuver here today. I'm shuffling kind of in the back. Richard Kingard moved up to 8th right there. Brian Rodriguez, and then Noah Clifton inside the top 10. Fitzwater there in 11th, our points leader. Of course, if he were to finish in 11th, that'd be his worst finish of the season coming into this race. But he comes in with a comfortable points lead ahead of Brandon Nelson, who's right behind him there in the number 22.
Yeah, it just shows you how important it is to run up front and be consistent. Even if you're not winning week in and week out, getting, pulling off top 5s, top 10s consistently is really going to help your championship. So even though 11th doesn't sound all that great, if you're complaining that 11th is your worst finish, you've had a relatively good season.
Absolutely. Remember, Justin Zaidel in 2019, when he won the championship that season, he started off the season with 3 straight runner-up finishes. So Fitzwater has 2 wins and an 8th place finish, which is just as good as what Zaidel did a couple years ago. King Art looking to make a move there on Ethan Lewis. Lewis started 6th, he's down to 7th. Olvera moved up a couple of positions right there. Troxel relatively in the same position he was in there in 5th. He actually started at 4th, he's down to 5th. Nelson fell back a little bit. Cole Raymond got a good jump on the start there, and these top 3 have kind of pulled away from the rest of the field. Brock Nelson, little ways off there. He's about 2.5 seconds off the race leader right now. And these 3 guys, you know, even if they stay this close, once they get to that cycle of pit stops, Cole Raymond could definitely jump these guys if the strategy works out to his favor. But we'll just have to see how it all shakes out for those guys. Great run for Thomas Troxel here as well. Of course, qualifying meant a lot. We mentioned that yesterday. But Troxel right there, only 50 points behind Zachary Fitzwater. He's had a solid season. He's finished top 5 twice this year, so definitely looking to keep that momentum up. Of course, he's Fitzwater's teammate, so that North State Racing team has a lot of strong equipment there, and they are, at this point, one of the strongest teams this season. They're leading in the owner's points, even though you guys didn't see the owner's points last week, because I just forgot to put them up in the video. Go through the field here, and I'm sure you're not too happy about this one, but what you going to do when you qualify last at a place like this, unfortunately?
You know what? Even just completing all the laps today is gaining him experience. Probably not as strong on the road courses as he is on the ovals, so this is just a learning experience for J-Nap. Nothing wrong with that.
He started off the season very well. He also has 2 top 5s this season, but did not have a good run at Texas last week. And right now not having a good run here today. No one's out of the race. In testing, I had a couple of incidents kind of early on. Now, be interesting to see when we get to that cycle of pit stops so this guy can come in cleanly, but right now just kind of logging the laps till we get to that cycle, which is going to be around lap 8, lap 9, lap 10 when the cycle begins for these guys. And tire wear definitely may come into effect as this race goes on, especially when it comes to the pit cycle, so I have to see if strategy plays out for any of these drivers. Well, Nathan Faden has led every lap so far in the 00, but Trey Smith is not falling off. It's very, very difficult to make a pass here. However, if Trey Smith continues to stay right behind this 00, he may pressure him into a mistake.
Oh, and remember what happened at Riverside. Sometimes the undercut and or overcut, that can gain you some spots on the racetrack. So if these top 3 can stay close, but each of them takes a different pit strategy, that could very well have a factor in who wins this race.
Absolutely. If you come in a little bit later, you're going to have a bit of a faster time later into the run, but if you come in earlier, you might get the jump on the field in the beginning of the run. So I think when it comes down to it, there's not as much of an advantage either way because it's pretty much a split run. It's a little bit shorter in that second half, but no matter the strategy, I think they'll generally be around the same places. Now, that's not to say someone from the back might do some strategy. That's kind of what happened when Trey Smith won at Riverside. We had someone, Trey Smith was kind of running, you know, in between 5th and 10th place right there. Came in, didn't take tires on his pit stop. Of course, Riverside tire wear is not as significant as it is here. And with that, Trey Smith ended up jumping the field and getting the race victory. Zachary Fitzwater was another guy who benefited from that greatly. And who knows, Fitzwater may try to pull that off again here today. Of course, he learned that strategy move at Riverside last time out. And he's looking to possibly get another top 10 finish. It'd be his 4th top 10 of the season. Only Fitzwater and Brandon Nelson have finished top 10 in every race so far this season. Of course, Brandon Nelson's come close to winning a couple times. He almost won Riverside. He was on the opposite end of all that when it came to the pit strategy at Riverside a couple weeks ago. So we'll have to see if Brandon Nelson can also pull that strategy off here today. But as you can tell, especially as these tires were out, it is difficult to make a move, and you're kind of just stuck in your respective positions until that cycle of pit stops begin. Now you do see Faden pulling away here from Trey Smith in the 41. Cole Raymond still there as well. And all just logging laps till this cycle of pit stops. And when that happens, that's when things can get a little bit crazy here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, at this point in the run, this point in the race, it's more about taking advantage of mistakes of the drivers in front of you than it is flat out passing them on the racetrack. A lot of times, if you can take advantage of somebody right in front of you slipping up, that's an easier way to get by them.
Absolutely, but we have not seen anyone make a mistake today, which is great. I'm really glad at how clean the race has been. I expected a little bit more going on, especially at the start of the race, and we almost did at the start of the race there when Trey Smith went 3 wide for the race lead into turn number 1. That was a great move out of Trey Smith, and it's definitely going to, if he holds on to his position, you're going to award him a lot of points. Now, unlike last week, we will have pit stops in this race. Of course, we couldn't do pit stops last week because that version of Texas that we were using didn't really allow for it too well, so it's a good thing we got pit stops in this race because it's definitely going to shake this field up. Brian Rodriguez here in the 13. He started alongside, I do believe, Angel or Noah Clifton there in the 7th position. He fell back a little bit right there, but Kinghart definitely gained quite a bit as well there. He was alongside Elijah Gordon, his teammate. I believe he started in the 11th position, and he moved up to 8th there on the start. So that's 3 positions, a lot like Trey Smith, and he's got a good run here on Ethan Lewis, and he's going to try to move to the inside, but that is a tough place to make an inside move through the hairpin right there, and he's going to lose a lot of momentum from trying to do that. That inside lane just simply doesn't work. You really have to arch that corner in order to get a good run down the backstretch, and that's what you're seeing right there with Kinghart. Lost a lot of momentum. Now Rodriguez may have a shot at maybe making a move here, and he's going to move to the inside, and he may get this one.
Yeah, you see cars using all that runoff on the outside. That's going to keep... Oh, looks like he cut the corner just a little bit, and that's going to allow... It's going to allow him to make the pass.
So it is possible to make a pass here at Circuit of the Americas, but it does take the guy ahead of you making a mistake. And that's what we see, especially a lot of the earlier races that we did in the series back in the day when I didn't know how to mess with INIs and all that. Of course, this is the nature of this track is just the way it is, and it's difficult to make passes here, but definitely good battle there for the 8th position. So Rodriguez up a position right there as Kinghart had a good run on Ethan Lewis and tried to make a move on the inside. Lost so much momentum off the top end of the racetrack that Rodriguez just got right around him.
Yeah, and then he had got hooked on that curb in the left-hander, and it looked like it just upset his car. Didn't allow him to get a good run off of that corner.
There's a very considerable gap from the top through to the rest of the field, or should I say Brock Nelson there in 4th, 6 seconds off the race lead. Cole Raymond there is only 3 seconds off the race lead. And he's kind of staying with Trey Smith right here, but Trey Smith's now 2 seconds off of Nathan Faden. Faden has a clean racetrack ahead of him. That's the thing about this place. It's such a big racetrack. A lot like Road America that you're not going to run into lap traffic at all. Now, next week when we head to Richmond, if that race stays green, we may run into lap traffic there. That's the shortest track on the schedule for these guys. But here today at Circuit of the Americas, I don't think we're going to really deal too much with lap traffic, especially if everyone stays nice and clean in this race. This right here may be the best passing opportunity. Getting a draft down this backstretch. Troxel definitely seems to have a faster car than Brock Nelson does here, but it's just so hard to get a run on a guy here. Now, we are closing in on pit stops, though, so these guys want to make sure they stay in their respective positions and don't lose anything before that cycle begins, because where you are in terms of running order is definitely going to determine how well you come out of the pit lane.
Yeah, and pitting by yourself is definitely going to be an advantage. Less busy of a pit lane. So I definitely think Nathan Faden's going to have the advantage, as well as these other guys out front. Going to have less real estate to negotiate when you're finding your pit box.
It's going to be a tight pit lane, especially if a lot of guys come in at the same time. And like I mentioned, that entry is very narrow, so these guys have to be careful. Once we come around next time by, we'll be halfway through the Firestone Indy Texas race. Cole Raymond may have a shot at maybe getting second here before the cycle begins. He is right on the gearbox of Trey Smith here. I haven't seen much of Cole Raymond this year, but he's had a nice, quiet, solid season there. He has won top 5, 11th in points coming into this race. And of all the true rookies, the only true rookie, there's only two true rookies ahead of him. That's Jay Knapp and Brian Rodriguez, but all 3 of those guys have been doing a solid job this year, and Raymond may actually jump both of them if he gets a good enough run, but he lost some ground right there through that corner, and one little mistake caused him to lose a lot of ground here. And you got Rodriguez on the gearbox of Angel Olvera right here. He may try to make a move on his teammate.
Rodriguez looks to have a quick car today, but as you said, just taking one mistake is going to lose you a lot of ground here going through those S's. It looked like Raymond just maybe car looked like it snapped out on him or had some rear wheel spin that made him lose his run.
We'll see. Will Rodriguez try to make a move on Oliveira here? He's going to stay behind him. Maybe playing it a little safer there with his teammate. This is Andrew Williams' team right here. Wisconsin Speedworks. They're both having a good run here today in 6th and 7th. Faden, actually, you know, these guys close into Faden in the last lap. They gain half a second. Trey Smith maybe managing the tires a little bit better than Faden here, and that may be very important for when we get to that second run. But here comes Faden, and that's exactly what I was talking about right there. You got to be careful coming down the pit lane. Now, this is really going to be interesting. With Faden coming in earlier here, he is going to gain a bit of an advantage now. But the rest of the guys who are staying out are going to have a major advantage near the end of this run. In the wall, Ace Garcia tapped it there. And Zach Winkle, I think, had some issues coming down as well. Outside of that, Trey Smith's going to lead a lap now. He's going to get a bonus point right there for staying out and leading that lap. But let's focus on the 00. Make sure he has a clean pit stop. He's got that first pit stall. Brock Nelson right behind him. It's going to be 4 tires for all these guys because I think going through those tight corners, you need them. And nice stop there for Nathan Faden getting out ahead of everyone else. Of course, Brock Nelson was the closest guy who came down the pit lane with him right there. You got Troxel, you got Angel Oliveira there. How about Jay Knapp here in the 81? Pulling a little strategy there. He got ahead of Richard Kingard, and that 81 machine did an excellent job. I'm not sure if he took 4 tires, though. That's the one thing I'm not a big fan of with this game. Obviously, in real-life IndyCar, it's either 4 tires or no tires. But there is that 2-tire option that we have here in the Haas IndyCar Series. One of our little quirks, and I'm wondering if that's what Jay Knapp did. That may not end up working too well for him as this run goes on. But either way, he gained a lot of ground there as he passed a few cars, which is definitely great to see. He got around Fitzwater there. Fitzwater was 11th. A lot of these guys, they kind of mixed up in the back there. I think Zach Winkle may be done for the day when he came down the pit lane right there. If we had any incidents, be on the corner of your screen. Now we are going to expect Trey Smith and Cole Riemann to come out here. This is what's going to happen. Nathan Faden was far and away the first guy off the pit lane of those guys. I don't think he's going to have to worry about anyone who he came in with. He's going to get the race lead here once these guys come in. However, these guys may just be a little bit faster once this run goes on, and they may close in and catch up to that 00.
A lot of cars having issues entering pit lane. As you said, it's a very tricky entrance, very narrow.
Yeah, they've got to be careful.
7 cars in a row hitting that inside wall, and that is going to mess your day up for sure. Absolutely. If you hit it hard enough.
So far, only 1 driver out from hitting that wall. Here's Trey Smith in the 41, and ooh, well, that looked like a pretty fast stop right there. Of course, they want to make sure they get enough fuel in, but here's the 41 machine, and I'm wondering if he did do strategy there and took 2 tires. Faden's coming up the hill, and Trey Smith is already off. These guys have figured out strategy on the road courses this season, no doubt about it. Here's Faden, though, and he's got warm tires. He's going to get around Cole Riemann here for the 2nd position, or at least attempt to do so.
He might have to wait until the back straightaway because it's very difficult to pass through that first set of S's. We'll see if Raymond can hang on here. But Nathan Faden, lost 2 positions on that pit cycle, and he is being held up.
But Trey Smith is he's got a pretty large gap right now on this field. Now we're going to have to see. I really thought that 00 was going to get out ahead there. Not the case, and Troxel's going to try. This is not the corner to do it, though. And he's going to lose some momentum there to Rodriguez. Brock Nelson, these guys are all bunched up here. And Brock Nelson, I think, is going to he's going to have to make a move on Troxel here. He's right behind him.
Yeah, very tightly packed gaggle of cars coming down into the hardest braking zone on the circuit. It's going to look up to the inside.
And you got Oliveira there in the middle of all that. Troxel kind of holding on, but he could not hold that corner, and around the outside goes Brock Nelson. So he's going to hold on to that position right there. That is the 5th position right there. He actually lost a position. Rodriguez moved up a lot right there. He's up to 4th now in the number 13, so a great pit stop for him. See if anyone else had any issues and still on the pit lane, and Faden is right on the gearbox of Cole Riemann here.
He's got a run on him.
Yeah, this is an interesting. We haven't seen anyone get a run up the hill in the turn 1 yet. We'll see if Faden tries to do something here. This may be a good place to make a move.
No, Faden runs a little bit wide.
So across the line, a 3-second lead for Trey Smith in the number 41. I'm wondering, Faden might be faster than these guys right here, so we're going to have to see if, in fact, that 00 can get around Cole Raymond and maybe have a shot at closing in on Trey Smith. He's got a nose right here to the inside of the 95, and he's going to take it away.
That is a very treacherous place to make a pass. Nathan Faden, that took a lot of guts to go around the outside of Raymond there. But he had to make a move sometime because he was getting majorly held up, and he was not going to be able to chase down Smith in the 41 if he didn't get by soon.
And I definitely think that 00 took 4, and the 41 and 95 took 2, because that 00 is really fast. The big question is catching him is one thing, passing him is another, and that is especially true here. It took Faden an entire lap, almost a lap and a half, to get around Cole Raymond right there. Then you got this gaggle of cars all still on each other here. You got Rodriguez, Brock Nelson. Oliveira's going to try on Troxel, but that inside's a tough place through that corner as well. How about Elijah Gordon up to 8th? Good strategy for Gordon, Logan Williams, and then Justin Zaidel rounding out the top 5. Jay Knapp, now that's a good improvement there. He actually lost a couple of positions right there. I think he also took a 2-tire or no-tire strategy, and he lost a position there. The Kinghart and Ace Garcia. Fitzwater fell back a little bit right there in the 66. He's now down to the 15th position. Jay Knapp is 13th right now, but that's still significantly better than what he had earlier on in this event. Brandon Nelson did not have a good run off the pit lane. He's not going to get a top 10 here today. Then you got Eric Monaco, and then Zach Minkle is back out there. Caleb Rose is out of the race, and Nathan Faden gained 2 seconds on that lap. And on that lap, he made a pass on Cole Raymond and pretty much put 2.5 seconds on the 95. So it's between Trey Smith and Nathan Faden now for this race win. And that 00 is clearly faster. Is he going to make the same move? He's going to try. Not going to be the same place. But Trey Smith is just hanging on for dear life at this point.
Yeah, so 4 tires was definitely the call, but like you said, it's one thing to catch them, it's another thing to pass them, and this is a very single-groove racetrack, so we're going to have to see how Smith fares in holding off the 00. Can he put his car in the exact right position to not leave a gap for the 00 to get by?
We're just going to have to see, and as this run goes along, Faden's advantage is going to dwindle a little bit as well, so Trey Smith knows that. He would love to get both of these road courses. Fitzwater won both of the ovals so far this season, and Trey Smith in position to win both of the road courses now. He's been stronger overall in this race today, but strategy did give him the lead at this moment. But it's going to take a lot to hold on to this race win. He's going to have 3 laps to go when he crosses the line next time around. So well over 60 more turns to go here in this race for Trey Smith. And I think we may see something up the hill as well here for Nathan Faden. Very possible.
Faden's going to have to he's going to have to time his pass right, because what we've seen from him all day is that if you get held up in the wrong spot on the racetrack, you have to go through so many corners before you get to the next passing opportunity. So you're going to have to time your pass either into turn 1 or at the end of the back straight. As he's got a run coming down the hill, though. I'm saying.
But I don't think he timed that one too well, but he's got a nose to the inside here. I think, no, Smith closes the door on him.
And it's very tight, and all that dirty air running that close to the car in front of you through such a sketchy part of the racetrack. It's going to take all the air off your front nose. You're going to lose a little bit of time.
I gotta say, Faden has done an excellent job in this race, and we saw that move he put on Cole Raymond earlier on. If he can make that same move, or make a move on Trey Smith to win this race, he earned this win. No doubt about it. Trey Smith definitely holding on here. And now you got Brock Nelson closing in on the gearbox of Cole Raymond.
I had thought Nathan was going to crash when he went around the outside like that, but yeah, like you said, he has a very strong car today, and it looks like Raymond's strategy didn't really pay off, and he's starting to fade back into the clutches of
Brock Nelson there in the 17. Like
See
I
if
said,
Brock
it's
can get
one
on the
thing
podium.
to catch him, another thing to pass him. They both got around Brian Rodriguez. Rodriguez fell to 6th right there. So Nelson, as for the race lead, that's all you got to do. Faden has gotten around Trey Smith. You'll see that in the corner of your screen right there as it happened. But Trey Smith just did not have enough there for the 0-0 of Nathan Faden. But that was a very good attempt out of Trey Smith. Now, the good thing for Trey Smith, I don't think he's going to lose anything from that, and he's going to gain a bonus point for leading a lap. He's not going to get the most laps led here today. But that might do it. 2 laps to go now for Nathan Faden here at Coda. And he's pulling away.
Yeah, and you know what? Props to Smith for trying a different strategy. If I'm in that position, I think I might do the same, because it's so difficult to pass. As we see Nelson making a move around the outside of Raymond, heading into the S's. And it looks like Troxel might be catching him as well. Raymond is falling off the pace here.
We have two totally different strategies going on in this race right now, and it's pretty clear to tell who had the 4 tires and who had the 2 or no tires there.
Well, and you can't blame the people for taking 2 tires, because on a track that's so difficult to pass, I mean, any sort of means of gaining track position, it's a valid strategy. I mean, you gotta just do something different from the leader if you're not making any ground up on him. So props to that 41 crew. Doesn't look like it's going to pay off, but he didn't really lose anything from it either. I mean, he's still running 2nd place.
And I think the way it looks in the points, he's probably going to be 2nd in the points once we get to it. There's Troxel on Cole Raymond right here. And Troxel definitely has those fresher tires compared to the 95, so Raymond may end up losing some ground off this. And you know what? Even Trey Smith may lose something off of this, because Brock Nelson is closing back in. He fell off initially, and he's right there in the gearbox of the 41. Gonna move to the inside right here, but not enough right there for the 17 to get around.
Yeah, Nelson had a disaster of a start, so good to see him back up on the podium, where it seemed like that car belonged all weekend. He showed a lot of good pace yesterday in qualifying, and looking like he's going to be in the hunt for the podium as we enter the final lap here.
Trying to get that 2nd position. He's all over the 41 as the white flag is out for Nathan Faden here in Firestone Indy Texas. Clifton in the number 23 has gone off the racetrack. He's in the pit lane, so that's a tough break for him. The battle's on for 2nd. Troxel has cleared the 95. But this is the best battle right now. And a lot of points at stake here. It's a 5-point difference there between 2nd and 3rd. And we'll have to see if Trey Smith can hold on and get those 5 points. Oh, I don't know. He just gave it up right there. So Nelson around the 41 through the S's. That's where we've seen a lot of the passes made. Now for Trey Smith, will he be able to hold off Troxel here on this last lap?
Yeah, Smith did not time that move well at all, and that allowed Troxel to gain a ton of ground on him as they're entering the hairpin that leads you down the back straightaway. This is probably going to be Troxel's last chance at making a move if he can get a good slipstream and outbrake or take advantage around the outside of the following corners.
Kinghart's up to 6th now as he got around Olvera and Rodriguez. Gordon's fallen back into the clutches of Ace Garcia. Garcia's moving up inside the top 10 there. It's all shuffling around. I think Fitzwater's moving up as well. So those guys who came in the first time had the advantage in this one. No doubt about it. And Faden, even though he didn't lead the entire thing, he knew what he was doing, and it looks like Nathan Faden's going to get his second career win here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Last one came at Pocono 2019. He won that finale race when Justin Seidel won the championship. But this one was an entirely different race than what we saw that day. But up the hill, Nathan Faden is going to win Firestone Indy Texas here for the first ever race that we've ever had here at Coda. Faden is going to conquer the racetrack in Austin, Texas. 2nd place, going to be Brock Nelson there in the number 17. 40 points for him. And then a battle at the line. It's going to be Trey Smith barely holding off Thomas Troxel for the podium. Troxel was close.
Very close margin there for 3rd place. And
Kinghart got 5th.
Wow.
What a good run for Kinghart in this race. And then you got Cole Raymond falling all the way back to 6th. Angel Olvera, Brian Rodriguez, Zachary Fitzwater finished 9th. And then the 18 of Logan Williams. It was a good run for a lot of guys at the end. Elijah Gordon went off the racetrack. So did Clifton. We had a few things go on there. You saw it all happen in the corner of your screen. It didn't affect Nathan Faden here today. Sturm, the pole, didn't lead every lap, but he is going to get maximum points here this weekend at Circuit of the Americas as he wins Firestone Indy Texas. That was a good one. I did not expect that good of a race here today, but definitely enjoyed that one here from Circuit of the Americas, and the strategy came into effect a lot more than I thought it did. I was not anticipating two separate strategies with tires and no tires there at the end, but it definitely gave us an interesting show, and in the end, Nathan Faden had the best strategy, and all those guys who took the tires, came in a lap earlier, had the best strategy in this race. Faden getting the win. Go ahead.
No, Faden had showed so much speed in this race, but it wasn't total domination. He had to earn his spot back at the front after that pit cycle. So, excellent run by the 00 team. Definitely a very deserving winner.
Absolutely. And looking at the standings here, I don't think anyone who went on that no-tire strategy ended up benefiting from it. Jay Knapp was last, so he ended up getting a little bit higher than that, but that was only because those four guys behind him wrecked out. But those guys who took those no-tire strategy there, they didn't really gain much. Trey Smith lost a position from it. He had pretty much the most neutral reaction to that. But you had Cole Raymond running third before the cycle. He ended up finishing sixth. Rodriguez did that strategy. He fell back to eighth. That was around the position he was in. But Fitzwater went the same strategy as Faden, and another top 10 for Fitzwater. He's going to remain the points leader. However, Faden, Trey Smith, they're both going to gain. Troxel's going to gain points on them. Those four guys are going to be the four up there in the championship, so we'll have to see how that all goes down for them. But hey, what a great race! I was thinking it was going to be a bit of a snoozer, and it kind of started off that way in the first half, but it got interesting into the end. So definitely a great event here at Circuit of the Americas. I'm glad we finally got a race here on the channel, and that was a good one. Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. Next weekend, it's Richmond. We know that's going to be a great race. Shortest track on the circuit. We're going 83 laps around there, I do believe, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then the week after that, we had the Willow Springs. That'll be another fun one. Another first-time track for the IndyCar Series, but we have gone there before on the channel. So looking forward to this season. We take a week off, then we go to Lime Rock, then we have Kansas, then we have the Indy Road Course, and then, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the Indy 250. And we're looking forward to that one at the end of May. Final thoughts on this race, Micah, and what are you looking forward to at Richmond next week?
It was definitely a slow burn here today, but it paid off. It was a very entertaining finish, seeing Nathan Faden run back up through the running order to get the lead. So excellent drive by the 00. Looking forward to Richmond next week. Expect some pretty tight, close quarters racing, and maybe a few accidents, maybe a few slips and slides, but it'll definitely be exciting for sure.
Absolutely. If you like this race, you'll like next week at Richmond as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here are the points for the Haas IndyCar Series after 4 races, and congratulations once again to Nathan Faden on his race victory here at Circuit of the Americas. We'll try and do better the next time. On behalf of Mike and App, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.